Hey everyone, good day, good afternoon, happy Monday. It is the first Monday of September, and I am very thrilled to be back doing CEO conversations with the Vision Builder. And this is a space that is intended to provide the right types of conversations that reflect decisions that micro business owners, small business owners make in the Caribbean diaspora and beyond, as it relates to growing your business. So at the beginning of this year, I started CEO conversations as a test, initially on LinkedIn and on YouTube, to see what the need is. And for me, it's very important when I do these types of rooms, of these types of live streams, that they are significant to you in terms of providing value. And what I discovered is that many of you are micro business owners like myself. And so these conversations are really essential in terms of helping you to make certain key decisions in your business as it relates to growing it, sustaining it, and navigating times like these. So welcome to everybody who is here live with me. I appreciate you. And today we are talking about really the elephant in the room, which is inflation. Now, if you are in business, you're a business owner of any kind, or even if you're not a business owner, you are a professional, you are living life. We know that right now we are dealing with higher than usual inflation rates. And those inflation rates pose very significant things for us to consider when it comes to business. So if you are on live, let me know your thoughts. Like, are you at all concerned about inflation, how it is affecting your business, and is it impacting the way that you are making choices and decisions? And while you do that, while I look out for your thoughts and your comments, I'm going to share what I know to be true when it comes to inflation, right? And also just to provide some context and some information about what it really is, how is it affecting us, because we hear these terms and we're not really sure what it actually means, right? And recently, not that we pay much attention to it, but we have to. Recently, there were a lot of declarations out of the US as it relates to how they are dealing with inflation. And simply by virtue of the fact that a lot of our currencies are hedged against the US, it's really important for us to have a sense of what's going on, right? So at a very basic level, and I'm not an economist, so I'm going to tell you straight up, I'm not an economist, but on this very basic level, inflation really does talk about how the value of our money is showing up for us, basically. You know, when you think about when you were growing up, how much you were able to buy with a dollar compared to now, that gives you an idea of how inflation is affecting things. And it is really based upon the consumer price index, which really measures the price of goods and services that are purchased in households, which of course is a big thing for us because we are now, if you are a business owner, you are providing a good or a service that someone now has to make a decision to keep on buying, right? So inflation looks at the increase in prices across the board. Now, here's a misconception that many persons make in business, and sometimes, you know, even I, at one point in time, I would have negated the idea that as a service, I would have negated the idea that cost increases in goods and services has a very direct impact in my operations, because when you're in a service-based industry, you don't necessarily have all of the overheads of someone who is product-based or in retail, but there is still an impact because of the overall increases in goods and services. Now, it's an interesting thing that I'm having this discussion now on a day where in Trinidad and Tobago, we do have industrial action from our teachers because they are still being paid 2013 wages in 2022. And of course, they would like a wage increase. Now, ideally, experts suggest that inflation should be around 2%. We are way above 2%. And the reason that we have such a high level of inflation in our country, in countries around the world right now, is because we would have gone through the pandemic. And in the pandemic, people were not buying as much, people were not moving around as much. But what also happened in the pandemic is that there were a lot of gosh, why is the word slipping my mind? There was an influx of cash because people were getting the supplemental income from the government to help them navigate the time and that sort of thing. So you had dumps of money in the economy, very little things opened up. And now we had more demand than we had supply. So eventually when the markets open back up, the countries open back up, what happened now is that, of course, there was a huge increase in demand for multiple things, but suppliers did not increase their income to their production to match the demand because the demand was perceived as a temporary demand. So what happens when there is higher demand and lower income is that the cost of everything goes up and the value of the dollar reduces. This is the reality of what has happened to us. So when you are now in a situation where there's industrial action, and again, I'm not against industrial action on any level, believe me, people should be paid what they're worth. But when you think about that, every time we have an additional dump of money into the economy without the supply to go with it, now there are bigger issues with supply chains and stuff like that. Without a supply to go with it, what is going to happen is that it will continue to push the rate of inflation up. Why is all of this important to us as business owners? Because once prices continue to go up, the cost of running your business is going to become more expensive. Simple. Once prices continue to go up, oil prices go up, energy prices go up, prices for services and subscriptions that we have go up. Once those things go up, the cost of running your business goes up. So if the cost is going up, the value of the dollar is reducing, people are more conscious of what they're buying. How in God's name are we going to survive? And let me tell you something. One of the reasons that I started with this topic is because on my Instagram, I do a live broadcast there teaching entrepreneurs how to build their strong, profitable businesses. I do a live broadcast there every first and third Monday. And one of the questions that was asked of me is, how can small businesses survive in times like these? How can small businesses survive in times like these? And it's a very important question. I don't know if any of you who are looking on have ever asked yourself that question. How can you survive? And I felt that it needed to be a discussion that we had really quickly as we start off CEO conversations. Before we go into other strategies and stuff like that, let's deal with the elephant in the room. How do small businesses survive when the cost of raw materials are going up because of inflation, when the cost of operating your business is going up because of inflation, where you have staff is demanding an increase in salary because they are also trying to survive and somehow they can't survive off of their old salaries and not cutting it in this new situation that we are in. And also when you deal with customers who may not be able to purchase goods and services, as many goods and services as consistently as they once would have. Those are the real challenges. Those are the 4 challenges that we're facing. And if you know of any other challenges, drop them in the comments. Let's talk about them. But these are the real challenges that are faced before us. But guys, listen, we are not the first to have gone through a recession of this magnitude. There have been worse recessions, but what I take solace in is that a lot of the firms that exist today exist having navigated through those times. So the question is, what did those owners do and what can we learn from them and how can we apply it to our own context, right? How can we apply it to our own context? So I'm going to share with you 5 strategies to survive in this inflationary time and to survive in this economic climate. And you can write these down, you can take note of them. But the first strategy in this time, in order to be able to navigate this period in our history and in our economy and in our businesses, in order to be able to navigate through this period in a professional, strategic manner, the first thing you need to do is invest in yourself. the first thing that you want to do is invest in yourself. I remember reading once about Warren Buffett. We know him as the man who was the richest man in the world. And he talked about the idea that investing in yourself, and I'm paraphrasing, investing in yourself is the best investment you can make if you want to survive in business. Become the best at what you do. So what this means is to make a little bit more effort to learn more than you already knew. I think the biggest challenge that I've seen, particularly in the Caribbean, is that we don't want to take the time to maximize our expertise in a real way. Yes, we can read books, and yes, you can do certain things, but there is a level of expertise in running your business that you need to have. There is a level of knowledge that you need to access in terms of how to run a business. Now, many times on these social media streets, I see people talking about companies need to do this and companies need to do that. And I did this live on this, a CEO conversation on this some time ago, that companies don't make decisions. It's the owners of the companies that make decisions. And the reason that I'm targeting the CEO conversation to micro and small business owners is that the difference between our types of companies as opposed to larger companies, and I'm not calling names, larger companies with multiple levels in its hierarchy, is that we have less lateral rigidity, meaning that we have more flexibility to adjust our operations to get a result. The larger the company, the more difficult it is to have that wiggle room to adjust. The more difficult it is. So when we make suppositions about larger companies and what they can and cannot do, my perspective is that if you have ever held positions in a major, large structure organization, you will recognize that moving one piece on the board has a major implication in other pieces, and you cannot just act independently. So for those of you who are on that bandwagon, listen, I'm telling you, it's not that it cannot be changed, but it cannot be changed overnight. However, for those of us who run micro businesses, you have less than 20 employees, you are under a certain income bracket, or you're in a very specific micro niche that you serve well, you have more ability to be flexible and to adjust and to learn, and your learning will have an impact on your operations. So you want to be able to navigate through inflation, start to invest in yourself, invest in your knowledge, invest in your know-how. Make a better effort, particularly in the area of finances. And I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to bring someone on who can speak to you in that area. But learn how to be able to manage your finances better, your cash flow in your business better, to manage your negotiation processes better, to understand how to identify a good strategic alignment as opposed to another. Invest in your ability to understand finances, to understand your market and economy, so that you are ready at all times. So a lot of the times we start businesses and we are experts in the thing that we are selling, the service, but we're not experts in understanding business or how business operates within an economic environment. And we make some choices and decisions that in times past you would have been okay, but right about now it's going to be very costly. So invest in yourself. The second strategy to navigate and to be okay in these inflationary times, fix your pricing strategy. Listen, I be on every mountaintop. I climb every mountain to tell all business owners, please fix your pricing. Please fix your pricing. This has to go beyond, understand, just saying, it's a high ticket, low ticket product or service offering. It's more than that. A proper pricing strategy is going to allow you to make better strategic decisions and to have a more consistent income coming in that is going to pay your bills, it's going to meet your needs. You got to fix your pricing strategy. A proper pricing strategy is going to help you to absorb the costs. You are going to know if you have the wiggle room to absorb a cost or if you have to adjust your costs. You really do need to fix your pricing strategy. Want to survive this time? You can't be winging it on your prices. Why are you charging $5,000? Do you know what $5,000 is actually doing for your business? Do you know how many $5,000 clients you need in order to keep your business surviving and thriving? Do you understand your pricing structure? So you want to be able to survive this time, you cannot be winging your prices. You have to understand your pricing structure. The third thing you have to do is start paying attention to your costs. This very much goes hand in hand with your pricing strategy and your pricing structure. You cannot convince me that you have a proper pricing strategy if you do not know the costs of running your business. You cannot convince me that you have a good pricing strategy if you do not understand the cost of running your business. When you understand the cost of running your business in times like these, what you are going to be able to do is to make direct linkages between value adding costs, meaning costs that allow you to serve your clients well, and those non-essential costs that you can now flex, adjust, remove, but it will not impact the way that you deliver your product or service to your customer. So now you have to focus on your costs, identify the things that are not as essential to helping you to deliver excellently on the money transaction side of your business. You need to identify those costs so that now when it's time to remove costs, when it's time to figure out what I can reduce in this time while we navigate through this uncertain season, it becomes clear. So look at the strategies involved in your production. Look at every dollar of revenue that comes in and every dollar that goes out. Look at ways that you can improve your cash flow. Listen, if you've never thought about your cash flow ever before, like, Dana, what is cash flow? I know money is coming in. I know money is going out. I'm not too sure. Now is the time that you have to think about it. Understand where you're spending your money. Look at your costs. Look at what are the linkages between the cost that I am incurring and the value that I am adding, and identify what can be removed. Consider measures this is the fourth one. Consider how you can increase your sales. Now, increasing your sales may be counterintuitive if you take it at the surface level with the time that we're in. But can I share with you how I know you can increase your sales? There are two things that you can do. The first thing is that you need to now micro niche. You need to get down to your most specific niche that you are clear that I have, let's put it this way. I'm a business coach. I'm a business consultant. There are about 1 million businesses in the world, and all businesses need coaching and consulting, but not all businesses need me. So instead of me trying to sell to 1 million, if I'm able to come down to my micro niche, clearly identified people that I serve, and I have a pool of 1,000 people, I don't need 1,000 clients every month, but now I can be more specific, I can be more targeted, and I will have a higher level of a higher conversion rate for what I provide. So you want to be sure, firstly, to micro niche, like stop trying to sell to all the people. These are for my business owners. I'm talking to you as one CEO to another. You cannot sell to all the persons. So now is the time to really refine and micro niche. And then the second way to increase your sales is to nurture the relationships with your existing customers. So what is happening is a lot of people run to get new customers. It takes far more energy to attract new than it is to retain old. You already have a relationship. So instead of trying to increase your sales by getting new customers, how about you increase your sales by amplifying loyalty with your existing customers? That's how you increase sales. That is how you increase sales. If you have a 5%, what's this research? If you have a 5% boost in your client retention, you can have a 25% boost in your earnings in your business. So if you look at retaining more people, engaging with them, even in the gap periods between when they've bought and when they will need to buy, retaining a connection with them, you will likely see an exponential increase in your sales, not necessarily from them, but because now you have turning your loyal clients into loyal ambassadors who tell others about you. And it becomes even easier when you have created those micro niches. That specific micro niche. Like, you should be known if you are someone who helps people with, I'm just going to pull off the top of my head, you help people with their marketing, micro niche, marketing for insurance experts or insurance sales agents. That is a very specific niche. When you become specific and you become known for that thing, there's a thing cognitively in the consumer's mind. They create mental shortcuts, and now you have a place. So now that loyal customer can tell others about you. And the last thing that I'm going to say, my last tip for navigating through these times is map out, project your needs, your cash needs in advance. Map out your have a vision, have a target, have a forecast for the next 3-6 months so that you are clear on what you need to invest in now to make that a reality. Right? You need to be clear now about what you need in the future. So any decisions that you are making with your present money, you are aware of where you are going. You are aware of how to use your resources astutely, how to use your resources well, so that you don't end up in problems later on. So a big reason that people are afraid is because sometimes you want to jump out a really big investment or a lot of money right now, but you are not clear on what you need later on. So you make a decision for the now because an opportunity presents itself now without being aware of where you're going, and boom, bang, bang. December come, problems in the dance, I don't know what to do, and I'm in a worse off position. So project where you're going. So as you think about assessing your cost, managing your cash flow and all of those things, you know where you are going, right? You know where you are going, and you won't end up in problems later on. So ultimately, here's the truth, guys. I'm nothing that I said here is that we won't be affected by inflation. What I'm trying for you to see is that we are affected by inflation just like everyone else in the economy, but we also have the power to make shifts and strategic choices in our business so that we can not only just survive this time, but in many instances, thrive and be in a better position to prosper at the end, right? So I'm hoping that this has been helpful to you. I don't know if anyone has any questions. I'm checking on my LinkedIn to see if there are any questions or thoughts or comments. And do you want more of this kind of content here? As I said, there is someone I know, she's exceptional, and I'm hoping to get her to come on and talk some more about particularly the cash flow issues. But if you have any questions, any thoughts, any comments, I would love to hear them from you. You can also feel free to send me a DM, to send me a message if you require any further clarification, insights, or wish to share your thoughts. So I'm not seeing any questions. So again, I thank you so much for joining me for a brief CEO conversations. These are like really quick power sessions in the middle of the day to get you thinking as you go off and continue to make decisions. And I'll say this, it's all great to come onto a platform and get some information, but it only makes a difference if you go away and take action. So whatever of these 5 points that I've shared with you that you can go away on and take action on, please do so. It's not enough to just have the information. Information without action does not get you results. So let's start taking some action. Thank you so much, Andrea. Andrea will be reaching out to you soon. Thank you for being here. We're back, CEO Conversation, and I'm really excited, guys. I'm very, very excited. And my goal is simply this, to help business owners like yourself to refine your business model so that you can pay yourself more have a profitable business, and live your ideal life design. So if we're able to do that, then fantastic. Have a great one, guys, and I'll talk with you soon. Bye.